Hello, friends. Thanks so much for joining me. It's back again, the NFL, America's favorite sport. I think we've all been waiting for it after the long summer with only baseball, WNBA, and golf to bet on. Maybe a little bit of tennis, but that's okay. The NFL is now back in season. So before the season started, I wanted to bring you the 8 key mistakes that I see a lot of NFL bettors make, even experienced ones, all the way to novice bettors. Many of us make these same mistakes. So let's play a little bit smarter this season and give ourselves the best chance to make some money. So starting off with number one, and I would say that's not having a plan. So you know how they tell you to go to the grocery store? Don't ever go to the grocery store hungry. It's the same with the NFL. We've been hungry for the NFL. Every week we're hungry for the NFL. And that leads us to really grow the grocery store hungry. What do I mean by that? So we start off by just taking a look at the lines, and then after a few minutes, we suddenly bet 4 sides, 4 totals, 3 teasers, 3 parlays, 20 player props, and everything like that. So really, we started off wanting to make 1 or 2 bets, and now we've made about 20. When we have a bad week, then we lose a lot of money, and we could bust ourselves out very quickly. I mean, if it's ever happened to you, comment below that you've gone bankrupt in the first 5 weeks of the season and then you're out for another year. So let's avoid that. Let's have a plan. Myself personally, what I do is I take the best 4 sides, the best 4 totals every week, and that's what I bet on. Sometimes I'll go up to 5, sometimes I'll only be at 3 because I run a mathematical model. So I may not always have 4 totals or 4 sides to bet. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes there's a 5th that I really like, but I'm around that 4, and that keeps me in action all year and allows me to profit off of my ideas without risking too much at once. So for the next one, I made an image that I really think describes a lot of how NFL bettors think, and I hope you'll appreciate it. Here it is. So the second tip, the second mistake that a lot of NFL players make is being overconfident. So America follows the NFL really more than any other sport. And sports fans tend to love the NFL. They tend to know a lot about the teams, a lot about the players. They really follow it very closely. And that can lead to a mistake of being overconfident sometimes. I've known a lot of people who are very big sports fans, and when they make the transition to being sports bettors, it doesn't always translate into good results. And a lot of it has to do with being overconfident. Manage your risk well, don't put too much on one play, and really be honest with yourself about what you know and what you don't know, and it'll go a long way to having a better chance of having a great NFL season. So the next gap in logic I really see out of a lot of NFL bettors is thinking about superstars and not thinking about teams. You know, there's more than just the best receivers on the team. It's units of offense and defense with offensive line, multitudes of different players, and we really have to look at all of it to really understand the strength of an NFL team. When I talk to retail bettors about the NFL, oftentimes they'll name drop superstar players, and it leads to really making picks not based on all the information we have in the best way possible that we can. We really only think of those star players. Now, if you were to talk to me at the NBA, yes, that's a superstar-driven league. But even in the NFL, even if a team has a great quarterback, but they have a weak defense and a weak offensive line, they're not going to be a great team. So when you're looking at these NFL games, try to understand how every part of the team is, how the units work together, and it'll really help you to make much better picks than you would just focusing on those superstar players. So coming up on number 4, I call this one bad logic. So let me know if you've heard this one before. The New Orleans Saints have beaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Tennessee Titans. Therefore, the New Orleans Saints should beat the Tennessee Titans. So it's this kind of logic that I find is really prevalent in NFL betting. A lot of people make these kind of logical leaps, and it can really lead you to not making the best plays because you're not really thinking about the games. Every week is different. Every game is different. Every situation is different. And when you kind of get caught in these logical traps, it really stops you from continuing to do research and to truly understand the team, and it can lead you to making bad plays without really doing further research. So avoid bad logic when you're betting this season. Try to understand everything and don't get caught in these sort of logical traps. So if you like these tips, you think this is helpful, let's stay in touch this season. Like and subscribe to the video so we can keep in touch. We can work together this season and really make it the best one that it can be. So moving on to number 5, I call this bad teasers and parlays. So in every video, I tell you guys not to bet parlays. I'm not going to go through it again. You really shouldn't bet them, but I've already said it. So let's move into teasers. So teasers are really a unique bet that a lot of people make with the NFL. There's not a lot of people who are betting teasers in the NBA or college basketball, lesser extent in college football, but the vast majority of teaser action is in the NFL. So teasers are a bet where it's like a parlay, however, you're allowed to adjust the spread. So you would take three teams, you would combine them, all would have to win the game and cover the spread in order for you to win your bet, but they'll allow you to move each spread 6 points, 7 points, sometimes even up to 10 points. So most commonly it's a 6-point teaser. But teasers are a bet that's what you make of it. So there are winning teasers, and I'll cover a video later in the season that'll have the teaser strategy that actually mathematically is proven to win. But most of the time, people are not making these optimal teasers. Instead, they're teasing through the 0. They're teasing from 10 to 4 without covering the 3. Really, you want to cover the 3 to bet a good teaser as well as the 7. So avoid making these bad teasers. They're a real bankroll drain and will take away from whatever results that you could have during the season. So number 6, last week is not the whole story. So we as bettors, we like to look at what happened last week and use that to drive our decisions this week. We want to capture any changes in teams so we can be on top of how a team should perform. This leads a lot of people to make a mistake where they put way too much weight on last week. You know, a team comes out, they have a bad game, maybe they have a few turnovers, and suddenly they're the worst team that ever played in the National Football League, and we should definitely bet against them. And this actually leads to a lot of good spots for people who are not following this kind of gap in logic, where you can take a team that's a good team but maybe had a bad week and bet on them this week, and really you can get some very good results doing that. So when we're looking and we're doing research in the NFL, we want to look at what happened last week, but we want to involve all the information we have, including how players performed this year so far, last year, everything like that. We want to put it all in to get the best pick possible. So don't get stuck focusing too much on what happened last week when you're betting the NFL. And similar to the other tip about having a plan, another mistake that a lot of NFL bettors make is they're desperate to bet high-profile events. These are Monday Night Football games every week. This is the Super Bowl. You know, a lot of times we won't really even like a side in Monday night, but we're going to the bar to watch it. We're going to a party to watch it. So we need to get a bet down to make the game interesting. And that leads us to make bets that really we feel forced to make rather than the best bets that we can make based on our research. $1 on an WNBA game in August spends exactly the same as $1 on the Super Bowl, yet year after year, people overbet the Super Bowl. I've known plenty of people who will take whatever they won during the NFL season and try to double it up betting the Super Bowl. Then they end up losing, and then they won nothing for the year. Instead, they could have taken those gains, locked them in the book, and been ready to go for next year ahead of the game. Instead, they took it all, they bet it all in the Super Bowl, and they lost it. So don't be desperate to bet high-profile events. Be patient with this. Again, have a plan for what you're going to bet, and if it doesn't involve the Monday night game, don't force a play just so you have something to watch. Be patient. And for this last one, this is something that pro bettors do every single game without fail, always, and retail bettors very rarely do. And that is they line shop. What is line shopping? So if you're in the real world and you're trying to buy a good, you look around at a bunch of different sites to find the best price you can get. And sports betting is no different. And this is really a gap in understanding and knowledge that retail bettors have, is a lot of them will favor one particular site. Like, oh, well, I always bet on FanDuel. I always bet on Draftkings. Why not both? Why not look at all of them? In fact, I looked at a game that I'm interested in for this weekend, which is the Dallas Cowboys at the Cleveland Browns. So if I look at FanDuel, I'm being offered the Dallas Cowboys plus 2.5 at minus 110, which is fine. I would have to win that bet greater than 52.5% of the time to win. However, if I look at ESPN bet, I can get the Dallas Cowboys at even, meaning I only got to be better than 50%. If you do this for every game throughout the entire season, your results will be exponentially better than someone who's not doing this. Do it against every game. Really not hard to do. Instead of keeping your money in a particular sports book, leave it in your PayPal account. And when you go to bet, look for the place where you can get the best line for what you want to bet, deposit quickly there, and make the bet. You're ahead of the game. If you do this, this is the best tip, the most important tip that will lead you to get the best results this season. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great NFL season. I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the day.